peace and cannabis, everyone. I just want to welcome you all to the show. This is definitely a beautiful day today. We are currently uh, Wednesday, 10/21 at March 18th, and I'm going to just give you all a few minutes waiting for our guests to come on. This is Papa Duke's DOG Social Network Podcast. We have so much going on today, and I have incredible news for you all. So I'll be reaching out to you in a few minutes, but we will be right back. Peace and peace and cannabis, everyone. I hope you all are doing well today. This is Papa Duke's COG Social Network Podcast. I am here going to have a special podcast with a good friend and dear Dr. Gabriela Vergara. I am all over the place today because um, we are uh, we've been blessed to meet our GoFundMe goal from one company, which is amazing. And it's been like uh, last 48 hours have been like crazy, but we did pick up two new sponsors for the season. Yerba Buena dispensary located in Brooklyn, and of course, Luke Lamp Company. They are upscale uh, lighting company. It does wall sconces, everything, and they they gave us the funding that we needed to get things started. So I'm very excited about realizing that we can pay some bills and take care of some great people that have helped the podcast move along. It has been just amazing what has transpired over the last couple of days, to be honest with you. And I am blessed and happy to know that the podcast is funded for now and we are able to move forward. And uh, again, it's going to be great. One great news is the podcast is going to Spannabis next month. So we'll be in Spain from the 14th through the 28th, not just doing Spannabis, but I'm going to be taking a much needed mini vacation and gaining content on Spain and hopefully other parts of Europe. I hope I can make probably southern France. We'll see. But it'll be more of a Spanish uh, tour for us, and I'm just blessed and happy to be able to do this. Many things are going to be going on in the next couple of months. You'll see some changes not only in the podcast, but in events that we'll be hosting. I am hosting a special event for my sponsors in late June, July. We're working on that right now. I am also making sure we get back on the Manhattan Neighborhood Network. We'll start new shows with them in May. That'll be a public access channel. I'm looking to get out to Denver to continue my conversation with Regent Wanda James and also eat at Chef Scott Duras barbecue joint, that smokehouse I've been hearing great things about. Yesterday, I just want to give a couple of shouts out. Ate at this place called Imperios on Mott Street. Oh my God, the calamari was amazing, and the pizza, the margarita pizza. But I should have ordered the arugula with chicken. Oh my God, that was like wow. And the waitress was amazing. She's from Sweden. Of course, I forgot her name. But we'll be doing restaurant reviews going forward in the next couple of weeks and featuring great spaces that are part of the community and bring joy to our stomachs and our taste buds. But also, I ate at Landwers. I believe it's near the Pods studio on Metropolitan. Uh, and they are uh, that was a nice little space. I had a little pesto sandwich, stuff like that. But you're going to be seeing a lot more of the cannabis environment getting into restaurants, and I just can't wait. But I do know that we are blessed to gain the funding that we needed to continue our journey. So we're going to Europe in April, Denver in May, And Atlantic City, we will be at MJ Impact in Atlantic City first week of May. We're also going to be at in California, hit any cannabis events. And of course, the final thing is New York State Canna Farm Store, which will be kicking off in May. We want to be able to introduce you all to the cultivators and processors that are creating your cannabis brands. I am going to take a small break and just let you all know we'll be right back. Dr. Daniela Vergara will be on in a few minutes. And let's see, I wanted to do something real quick. Try something here. Um, it's a beautiful thing, a beautiful day, but I do know great things are happening, and oh shit, some other stuff going on, but I want to tell you thank you so much of just being on for a minute, and just give us a couple seconds. We'll be right back. Oh shit, she's not even on. Is she fucking even on? Hi, are you ready?
Yeah, was waiting for you.
Wait a minute. Which one are you on? Because I don't see you on.
Link for Google Meet.
No, no, not Google Meets. Oh no, get out of there. I'm going to send you the link right now.
Okay.
I am so sorry about that. My fault. I'll send it to you right now and text it to you. Okay, so sorry. All righty, everybody. I am back. Thank you so much. I have Dr. Daniela Vergara on, and I just want to say it's a pleasure to be able to get her on the show. And I want to say hello. How are you, Dr. Vergara?
Hi, how are you?
Oh boy, it's a beautiful day today. A little overcast. What's going on upstate?
We have snow. We had preview of what spring could be like, and then we went back to winter.
That's awesome. Well, let me tell everyone who Dr. Daniela Vergara, PhD, is in Indiana University of Bloomington. Brad is the emerging crop specialist with the Harvest New York program, correct? And she has extensive experience in teaching and research, mainly in genetics and breeding programs. And we'll be working statewide with Cornell faculty and staff to promote various emerging crops. Daniela's past work has focused on hemp production, predominantly in the Western United States, with numerous relationships as a consultant with bioscience and agrobusiness firms. She is located in the Agritech campus of Geneva, New York, to collaborate on work being done in hemp, hops, and other crops, and of course, THC, cannabis. I have to tell you,
Well, okay, so
oh, well,
their
clarify
THC
that.
cannabis,
Clarify.
I Cornell at Cornell we can only work with low THC varieties.
Hmm. Well, I got to tell you, I'm going to start off with you, and we're going to talk about science for the streets, just the basics. Okay, so the science for the streets. How do we take complex genetic info and make it understandable for the average consumer standing at a dispensary counter?
Um, um, so genetic information.
Hmm.
So, I guess it is how the DNA, so the genes,
Hmm.
how the DNA is reflected on your physical characteristics.
Okay, and what is that? My physical. Say that again.
So your physical characteristics, how you look, right? So what part of the physical, so any phenotype, any physical characteristics, whether it's hair color or height or any physical characteristic that you can measure, right? That
Uh
you can
huh.
measure with a meter stick or a scale or anything that is a product of genes and environment. So the genes that you have, what how are they related to that physical characteristic, to your hair color or your height, for example, right? So, what are the genes in the plant that the plant has that are related to how the plant looks, whether it is tall or it's short or it has dark leaves or it produces high or low THC?
Okay. All right. And next question I want to ask you. You know, you've worked with Cornell and CU Boulder, Colorado
Yes.
University Boulder, right?
University
Uh,
of Colorado in Boulder.
yeah,
Yeah.
University of Colorado. Right. What's the biggest myth you hear from casual smokers that the DNA just doesn't support? Do you know there are some concerns about how cannabis interacts with us?
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
on a DNA, does it do anything like give us superpowers?
I've heard a lot of like the sativa indica thing. It's is is not real, right? We know that the sativa indica, um,
It's
that
not
is no,
really okay. Okay.
yeah. I mean, plants definitely look different, right? And plants definitely um, have different physical characteristics, but that doesn't mean that it's either sativa or it's indica and that 30-70% or it's 60-40 or that's kind of BS, right?
Hmm.
And I've done analysis both in with the genome, right, that shows that there is no relationship between so-called sativa or so-called indica, and also with the chemotype. So looking at the cannabinoid and terpenes, there is no relationship between sativas and indicas. So plus sativa and indica can mean 10 million things, right? People use it to say that that's how the plant looks, or it's where it's coming from, or it's where what it produces, or right, the effect. So really it's not, and we know that many traits are not correlated, right? That the fact that you are tall has nothing to do with the fact that you have dark hair, right? So
Right.
we know that the fact that the plant is short, it doesn't mean that it's going to be broadleaf, or it doesn't mean that it's going to have high THC, or it doesn't mean that um, it's gonna be coming from a particular location. So all of those things are not related.
Mhm. Not related at all. So basically, we're consumers. It's so sativa and indica really is irrelevant. It's how the cannabis plant affects you, I guess, right? Um, I mean, because you hear many people love the indica, how it keeps you, uh, it relaxes you. It's good for sleep. For those who can't sleep, sativa supposedly keeps you up. So none of this is really scientifically proven, and I
I mean,
guess.
there could be varieties that varieties do produce different compounds. We know
Mm-hmm.
that, right? Um, and we know that they may interact differently. What we don't know, for example, is whether the names are independent of the effects, right? The names are independent of how you feel. So if there's one that makes you feel drowsy or sleepy and another one that makes you feel energetic, you can call it whatever. You can call it, you know, Jim and Joe. It's independent.
Mm-hmm.
Now we also don't know if you use the same variety every single day, is it gonna give you the same effects, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know that. We don't know whether that's gonna produce the same effects, or whether it's gonna yeah, whether it's gonna give you the same,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And or me, if you and I both use the same strain, are we going to have the same effects? Or if you slept, are you going to have the same effects? If you ate something different, if you exercise, that we don't entirely know that. So always saying like, oh, this is an indica and this is going to make you sleepy, and this is a sativa and it's going to make you energetic. Well, I guess that it also depends on under what conditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and then I've heard people saying like, oh yeah, this were siblings, where they were from the same mother, at least from the same mother, and one is a sativa and the other one's an indica. So those things do not make sense. So it's one is a sativa because it looks lengthy and tall and has, you know, lengthy leaves, and the other one's an indica because it looks squat and short and thick, and it has
Mm-hmm.
very green leaves. Like what is it that you mean, right? Because at the end of the day, you know, you and your brother can look very different from each
Right.
other. You're still so but you're still siblings.
Right.
It doesn't mean like, and you are from, you know, like you're from the US and the other one's from Australia. Like that doesn't make any sense. But
Understood. Yeah, that I understand. Between hemp and marijuana, from a genetic standpoint, is the legal distinction 0.3% THC actually based on science, or is it just a random number politicians picked? Uh,
correct. That's a
yeah.
great question. Correct. That's totally true. Yeah. It the legal definition does not agree with the biological definition. There is the hemps for fiber and grain, so those that are used quote unquote industrially or for food, right? For grain, they do cluster together
Mm-hmm.
and they are more related to each other. but the 0.3% is something that is, I guess, convenient for governmental legal definitions. I don't know.
There's one word that that kind of got me a little um, off base. Landrace, LANDA.
Landrace.
Right.
Yeah.
What is that? Are there any truly pure genetics left in the world? You
So
know.
that's a great question. So we don't think that there are wild cannabis plants, right?
Hmm.
There may be feral plants, and ferals are those that are escape that
Hmm.
were at some point cultivated and they escape. But truly wild, we're not sure. I don't know. Perhaps maybe
Hmm.
in Siberia, but I'm not sure.
Hmm.
Um, so land raises are usually what people have been growing for long periods of time in a particular place, or they have been growing for several generations in a particular place and they are adapted to that place,
Okay.
right? So it doesn't mean that they're from there, but there's been multiple generations that they've been growing there, and therefore that's why they call them landrace.
Okay. That's understandable. Okay. How does your agricultural genomics foundation help the small independent grower protect their unique genetics from being corporate patents? You, you know what I mean?
So that's something that's kind of a pipe dream to be able to help
Hmm.
people kind of um have their strain um certified,
Hmm.
um and figure out how to do that. Now it's very hard because sometimes people come with strains that it's like, oh well, this was given to me, so therefore who is it from, right? And
Hmm.
then, oh, I was the one that came up with the name, I don't know, whatever, Blue Dream. And is that true?
Right.
How do you,
Right.
right? And
Right.
this is a real Blue Dream. How do you know whether that's true or not?
Right.
That's hard to
Right.
figure
Right. Okay. Yeah, it is very hard to regulate or even to certify in that regard. So the market's really like Wild West. Pretty much, it's open, and people can create anything they want as long as it's not
out.
toxic or poisonous.
Hmm.
Beyond THC and CBD, what's the next mirror cannabinoid or terpenes?
Cannabinoid?
Yeah, or like terpenes, like THCV or CBG. The science that the science world is getting really excited about. I know that terpenes in the are used heavily in infused supper clubs, stuff like that. To uh, introduce consumers um, a new way to experience THC. So, do you feel THCV or CBG is the next?
I don't know, or a mix of all of those. I don't know. I
Right.
think
Well,
that,
can you for
yeah.
those that aren't familiar, can you give us the differences between THCA, THCV, and CBG so they have an understanding?
Okay. Okay. Let's start with the plant produces all of these compounds in acidic form, right? And that's
Hmm.
the A. So THCA, it's usually, I mean, it's delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinolic acid, and
Hmm.
CBDA is cannabidiolic acid, right? So in the biochemical pathway where you produce these compounds, there is a main compound called CBGA, cannabigerolic acid, which is the molecule, the precursor molecule where these proteins, these synthases, so THCA synthase, CBDA synthase, and CBCA synthase, these are proteins that perform a job, and each
Hmm.
of them take cannabigerolic acid and turn it into either THCA or CBDA or CBCA, right? There's more to that story, but we're gonna leave it there
Hmm.
because it's a little bit more complex than that, but we're gonna leave it there. So the plant produces these compounds in the acidic form. Now, these compounds naturally, they change through
Mm-hmm.
time and through environmental conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So if you heat them up, there's a process called decarboxylation where
Yes.
you lose carboxyl group, which is COOH, and that COOH turns into CO2. Um, and what happens is that the compound goes from acidic to neutral. So it loses the acidic part and now it becomes neutral. So THC or CBD or CBG or CBC, that's what happens with decarboxylation. That happens outside of the plant, right? That's why you bake it, vape it, smoke it. You heat it up
Mm-hmm.
so that that
Mm-hmm.
happens. Those compounds are the ones that mostly interact with our endocannabinoid system, but there's many other compounds that interact with our endocannabinoid system. Terpenes also do, and it seems like the the acidic cannabinoids also um, interact with our endocannabinoid system. Um, so those um, it's also known that these compounds, if you leave them to age, they also change, right,
Mm-hmm.
through time. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, through oxidation, THC turns into CBN, and through oxidation, THCA turns into CBNA without being decarboxylated. And then when you heat it up, the CBNA turns into CBN. So all of these compounds are changing throughout the plant's life while the plant is alive. And also, if you take um, a bud and you leave it there, those compounds are also gonna continue to change.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so again, the plant produces THCA. The plant doesn't produce THC. THC does accumulate in very little quantities. Especially, just imagine a very hot summer and you have your plants outside. Yes, there's a little bit of decarboxylation that happens, but it's minimal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I always, I love that legal loophole. It's like, oh, I'm growing THCA hemp. Like, no, not really. You're growing marijuana because all plants produce THCA, right?
Right.
So I love how people use the legal language that wasn't based in biology or biochemistry and then used it to their advantage and said, well, I'm growing THCA and it's not THC because the legal at that time, now it's the laws are changing, the regulations are changing, but at the time the regulation relied on THC and not on THCA, right?
Okay.
So
Okay. Well, we're going to take a small commercial break and we'll be right back.
For too long, cannabis branding relied on outdated stereotypes. We're here to change that. Jadestone is a woman-owned, strategy-first creative agency, building brands that stand out, resonate, and perform. With white glove service and meticulous attention to detail, we transform ideas into bold identities and memorable experiences. From brand strategy and visual identity to packaging and dispensary design, every touchpoint is intentional, refined, and crafted to make your brand unforgettable. Let's create something extraordinary together.
New York City Cannabis Exchange, your trusted cannabis dispensary, right here in your neighborhood. Convenient, secure, local.
Hey, this is Papa Dukes. I'm back here with Dr. Daniela Vergara talking about the science of the plant and also hemp crops. And the one question I definitely want to get back to is certification. These lab. Well, the beginning of the next question is the lab testings. How do you feel about lab testing in New York and how it's been regulated, Dr. Vergara?
ooh, that's a loaded question.
Oh, it's a
How do I
loaded? Okay, I don't want to load you up now.
well, because you know that there is some labs or some results, let's say some results are not entirely trustworthy, right?
Okay.
So how has it been regulated? I think that New York State in general had good intentions,
Hmm.
but the from theory to practice there could be a big gap, right? Um, I think that yes, the intentions were there, and
If the intentions were there, though, right? What do you think that those that they would come to this people that teach this, the science people, to help them, develop the procedures of proper analysis. It seems like it's academia who's doing, the actual work in science, and then there's the corporate side, that's just coming up with their own regulation, self-regulation, or whatever. What do you think? I mean, don't you? I would come to you all for this to make sure I have the proper
Yeah,
data.
but we're also hand tied because at academic institutions um that have federal funds, we're hand
Mm-hmm,
tied because it's federally
mm-hmm,
illicit. So there's a point, right? At the end of the day, working with low THC plants, whether it's high CBD or high CBG or any other high cannabinoid, it's very similar, and you can draw many similar conclusions, right? Because they're grown in similar way, they're grown in high spacing between plants, horticultural style, high tunnel type of thing, or outdoors or indoors. And when you have hemp for fiber and grain, you grow it like you grow corn in high densities.
okay.
And you harvest it via very different ways with heavy machinery. So at the end of the day, when universities grow either CBD or CBG or whatever, the results can be relevant for the marijuana industry. It's just that one compound. It's one compound where every single regulation relies in that one compound. And I can talk a lot about that one thing, right? I can talk a lot about it. But
Mm-hmm,
in any case,
mm-hmm,
um, that's that's what happens, right?
mm-hmm,
So so at the end of the day, you can have yes, I think that many people that went into regulating cannabis, they had been regulating other things that um, may that are not relevant. Like it's a live plant. It's a live plant, and in live plants, you have microorganisms that may or may not be um, pathogens for humans. So if you there's some tests that I think are unfair and are setting people to fail. If you're testing for certain things like aspergillus, for example, you're setting people to fail because aspergillus is found everywhere, right? So you're setting people to fail. Um, and
mm-hmm,
and then it's the regulation is so sometimes so strict that um, first the tests are extremely expensive.
mm-hmm,
I do think that you need to have some sort of testing, right? Like you don't want weed with poop on it. You don't want that. You
mm-hmm,
don't want super moldy weed that is actually harmful. You don't want that. So there must be tests, but they need to be realistic. And asking people to test and to tag and to do it's not allowing them to have profitable businesses. So so it's not sustainable in a
mm-hmm,
business side of thing. So I do think that you do need to have some standards, but I think that the standards for marijuana is unrealistic, and the fact that sometimes you're expecting recreational, so adult use marijuana to be regulated as um, medical. I think that is unfair because um, the if you are a medical patient, your needs are different from that one person that is using cannabis recreationally. So I think that is in a way unfair as well. Um,
mm-hmm.
so that's yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
have to
Okay.
say.
Well, let's talk about the future of farming in New York State. Sustainable
Mhm.
farming. How can genetic research help New York farmers grow more sustainably in our specific and often very humid climate?
So looking for varieties that are good for particular environments.
Mm-hmm,
So that are resistant to specific diseases, right? The problems that we have here in New York State are different from the problems that they have out west, right? Um, for example, I remember outdoor grows in Colorado, and in Colorado you had problems with crickets, or
mm-hmm,
yeah, that you
mm-hmm.
don't see here, right? Like here you have more problems with botrytis,
Okay.
right? So it's the problematic is different. So looking for varieties that are good for this particular climate, I think it's would be a good thing.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, with climate resilience, with the weather getting weirder, are we researching ways to develop strains that can handle this extreme weather that we've been having over the last, say, decade?
I mean, I hope so. I hope
Mhm.
that I hope so. Um, You know, I think that that is a really good question. I think that that is going to be a big problem. I think it is currently a big problem. You know, we see how there's people that are getting droughts in certain places, and in other places, they are getting rain nonstop and they're losing their houses to flooding. So I think that that's a huge um, issue that it's going to be more and more important and aggravates as time goes by.
Right.
But I honestly think that especially the small growers in cannabis,
Hmm.
they cannot think that far in advance because
Hmm.
they need to think about what's going to happen tomorrow, right? So then it's tagging via this track and trace system. Then it's, you know, the regulations, the blah blah. Then it's right. So they cannot keep their head above water, so they cannot think that far ahead.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I do think that, for example, a friend of mine recently brought up like, hey, have people, companies here in New York thought about, because he's coming from out west as well, right? So he said to me, and we know each other from our time in Colorado, and he said to me, hey, do people here, do they have plans on what are they gonna do when federal legalization happens?
Hmm.
And I was like, I have never heard anyone in New York talking about it because I know that Colorado companies, some of them have a plan. When federally, if it happens tomorrow, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to adjust. And I'm sure that there's some California companies that do as well. But here in New York, I don't know if the big companies, or perhaps the MSOs, they have a plan if federal legalization happens tomorrow. But I don't think that most people do, and I don't think that most people, yeah, have a plan on
Hmm.
how is it that we're gonna do, how what are we gonna change, right? Are we gonna sell the company? I don't. So
Well, the
yeah.
consensus is for smaller uh, for the small mom and pops is, yeah, they can't look but so far ahead, um, and are concerned about uh, um, MSOs and ROs taking over the market and undermining their ability to create generational wealth. So the I've already I've been to a couple events where there's been an influx of uh, I call it reverse carpetbagger California coming to New York. The reason why I
Hmm.
say that's when, after the Civil War, northern industrialists came down south to take over their industries, and they
Hmm.
called them carpetbaggers. So the southern people called the south called them carpetbaggers, but it's it's um, it's a concern that, yes, that no one I've heard so far wants to deal with. They don't want to be federalized yet. They want to build the market first and build their brands before we actually go federally legal.
Well, but we don't know when that's gonna happen, right? Like
Right,
people,
right.
yeah, and you know, like sometimes I feel like, oh, the, who was I talking to recently that told me like, hey, this is gonna happen soon because you know, and I don't remember the rationale, but it's like, yeah, this is gonna happen soon, and the fact that the president gave this executive order, which is an executive order, and it doesn't mean that it's Schedule 3, right? It's an
Right,
executive order, which
right,
we don't know what happened because then we went into a war and etc. But right, that doesn't mean that it's gonna be legalized. But some people are like, yeah, it's gonna be legalized in no time. It's
right.
gonna happen, and it's gonna happen probably in this administration. I don't know, you know, like I've been working in the cannabis industry. I've been working with the plant since 2013, so it's been more than 10 years, and I stopped waiting for it.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I was kind of like, you know, I'm not sure if this is gonna happen. I don't think it's a good idea for New York farmers if
No, right.
legalization happens. I don't think so. I think that it
What
would be
what would,
great for,
what would you
yeah,
think would happen if it became legalized? Let's just say we became legalized like now. What would you think would be
tomorrow.
what would you think would be the major impact, good or bad?
I mean, good for certain companies.
Right, of course, but for you say for farmers, what would be like a detriment to them?
I mean, I think how are they gonna compete with the prices from
Right.
California?
Hmm.
Or Canada already has been legal, and there's word on the street is that there's Canadian products also coming at least to New York.
Oh, always,
Um, exactly. And then,
always.
for example, I'm Colombian, where I'm from. Colombia has been exporting cannabis to Europe and I believe Israel as well, and
Legally,
growing.
really?
Yep,
Holy cow! Did not know that. Hey, y'all, we going to
medical,
Columbia.
medical.
That's
Yeah, because
yeah,
Colombia is
medical,
medical.
medical. Right, Columbia's medical.
Uh,
Okay, okay. Um, so I want to ask you a question. What's hops latent viroid? It seems to be scaring a lot
Oxalate
of
and
people.
viroid.
Yeah, hops latent. I'm so sorry. You say
Yeah.
tomato, I say tomato. But no,
Um,
what is that? What is that?
uh, Oxalate and viroid. It's a viroid, so it's not a virus, right? So it's
Hmm.
it's it's different. It doesn't have a cap. It doesn't have a protein that protects it. So it's just kind of like floating genetic material. It is a very small piece of RNA, and it basically it has detrimental effects on your plants.
Hmm.
Yield decreases. It can be transmitted with pruners. It seems like root touching, if you have, hydroponics or something like that, your roots
Right,
are touching. Definitely with scissors and pruners and maybe even touching the plant. It is very hard to kill. Ethanol doesn't work. Heat doesn't work as much either.
right,
Um, but it seems like if you have um, a good uh, grow and you're treating your plants well, then it's not a big concern.
right. But it's if it is a concern and it got out in the market, what effects would it have on us physically as smokers? Do you know the medical side effects or anything, or does
I
it do
mean,
anything
I
to
don't.
us? Or
No, no,
oh,
no.
okay,
It
it's
does to
just
the
it more
plant.
to the plant.
No.
Okay, okay,
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
Not to us,
because
right?
we
So
were
it's basically a piece of. I'm not gonna get into details, but it's an RNA piece. It's like 250 something letters, so it's really small. It's fascinating, and it affects the plant. It doesn't affect us.
okay, okay. All right. I just wanted, yeah, because we were kind of getting stoned over here. Next thing we're talking about it, and are we going to have a zombie attack if we smoke weed? Or I want to tell you, right? A side note.
No,
This
no,
is a
it's
I've
you're gonna be
I've
fine.
I've been a pothead all my life, so I really think I was born with a joint in my mouth. But um, there are times we all sit up here and we really fantasize about the zombie apocalypse, and only people that smoke weed are immune to becoming zombies. That's just really crazy. But I think that one of the main things is the epigenetics of the plant itself. Um, when we grow the plant, whether in soil or hydro, does it actually change its DNA at all?
Say that again.
When we grow a plant, whether it is soil or hydro, does it change the epigenetics, the DNA of the plant?
The DNA doesn't change,
Okay,
right?
okay,
The DNA doesn't change. But so the epigenome, epi is on top, right? The epigenome, you could have changes in the epigenome based on environmental conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So what could happen, depending, and I mean, again, every single physical characteristic is a product of genes and environment. So depending on the environment that you're growing your plants could have differences in their physical characteristics. Depending on how you're growing them, they can be taller or shorter. They can have more or less cannabinoids, right? So that's depending on how you are growing the plants.
Excellent. Okay, no worries. Well, we're going to take another commercial break real quick. We'll be right back, everyone. We appreciate you attending the show. We'll be right back. At Proteus 420, they provide high quality services and educational resources to support your growth and help you thrive in the cannabis community. Efficient inventory management ensures you maintain a reliable product supply and avoid stock shortages. Their point of sale service tracks sales activity, helping you identify best sellers, top employees, and valuable customers. Stay compliant with built-in reporting, alerting you to the latest state and local regulations. With payment processing, accept payments seamlessly across various methods, including cash and debit. Their customer relation management system builds loyalty, ensuring tailored offerings for repeat business. Proteus 420, empowering your cannabis business for success. Welcome back, everyone. This is Papa Dixie OG Social Network Podcast. I'm here with Dr. Daniela Vergara, asking her very awkward questions about science of the plant. And I know she doesn't smoke, right? You're not a smoker at all, right? You wouldn't get any.
Really?
Are you? Okay, sorry.
I'm not. No, you tell me.
No,
What
no.
can you see in this screen?
I don't know. I just see this, first off, I see this amazing, bright, beautiful human being sharing her knowledge, educating us about what we need to know about not just cannabis, but growing and plant and culture, the cultivation culture. A couple more questions. I know, with federalization blocking all types of research, what's the one experiment you're dying to run but can't because of federal government handbrakes? Just because of we're not ready yet. What will be the one like
Just one?
well, you could say a couple actually. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then. Okay. I would love to have and this could be done at an event, for example, where you have an event and you have multiple flowers that people do not know what they are. They do
Hmm.
not know what they are. You just have it there, let's say in a jar where you can smell it. Maybe you can see it in the top and and you can see it in the bottom. And
Hmm.
I would like people to answer these questions. One, was it grown indoors or outdoors?
Hmm.
Two, is it an indica or is it a sativa? Um, Three, what do you think the effects are going to be? You smell it, you look at it, what do you think the effects are going to be? Then and this is all randomized, right? So that people do not know what they're getting. Then they smoke it or they vape it or whatever, right? They consume it, smoking or vaping, not baking, maybe, yeah, right? Like not like through an extraction process, but just the flower somehow. Vaping, I mean, with a volcano or a PAX, right? Not oil, but
Hmm.
the flower.
Hmm.
And then ask people which one was the one that you smoked. And that one that you smoked, was it, again, that one that you smoked, was it grown outdoors or indoors? Was it a
Hmm.
sativa or an indica? And then ask questions like, okay, does it smell like pines or lemon or a forest or blah blah blah, right? To see more about, because I think that all of those things, my hypothesis is that all of those things are BS, right? That people really cannot tell. Like, you can have really good outdoor flower, but you can also have really good indoor flower. You can have crappy outdoor flower and crappy indoor flower, but you can have it all.
Right.
And looking at the bud and looking at and smoking. I don't think that you can tell where was it grown. How, oh, this is definitely grown indoors, and it was um on a
Right,
cocoa,
right.
and it was. I don't think that you can. But I would like to test that at some point, right? I would also like to test, indoor, and the ash. Oh, the ash is white, therefore it wasn't flushed. The flush thing, I would like to know, because I do know that for tomatoes, for example, in hydroponics, they do recommend to get rid of the nutrients if you're putting these nutrients in jugs and stuff, that
Right.
um they do recommend that, but I don't know whether that translates on whether you can see it in the ash of the joint.
Okay, this is what I've learned, right? And forgive me because I worked at a farm a few years back where they were using living soil technique, and
Yes.
one of the process was flushing.
Yes.
Right. So we had
On
a
living soil?
yeah. This guy
But
was he. It's weird. It's I don't. It's how he did it was we made the specialty through creating the mold with parboiled rice, leaving it in pine boxes, allowing the mold to grow near trees. That was the 7 day to 10 day process. Then we created the specialty. We used that mold, put it in one part the mold and one part uh, brown sugar, allow the mold to eat the sugar to create
mm-hmm,
this really thick nutrient and solvent that would,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
you know. And so then we added that to 10 gallons or 25 gallons of water, totally soaked the soil. Um, Once that
mm-hmm,
tea was gone, then we just used regular filtered water, uh,
mm-hmm,
the flowering process to absorb
mm-hmm,
those nutrients out. And it
mm-hmm,
these we took some plants that were dying, added it to the soil, did this process, and they were totally different plants towards the end,
mm-hmm,
flowering, totally different plants. They were little bitty buds. By the time he got to it, Nick Scalisi, by the time he got to it, we had these huge colas,
huge. Mm-hmm,
huge colas. And of course, there are these companies that create these special teas where you can add, whether it's liquid form or powder form, to the water, create this nutrient. It looks to me like a great iced tea, the water itself, right? And one time
mm-hmm.
I've got we had these beautiful tall glasses and I filled it up and put ice and lemon and gave it to Nick. So that was a joke. Anyway, but it did. It looks just like a beautiful iced tea once it gets with the water, and it just seemed to bring out these beautiful plants. So, but I the flushing part, yes, you want to make sure that process is being done correct. Just make sure that because we don't want to get how it is to me is we're giving them all these nutrients and then we're cleaning them out and then we harvest it.
But I
It's
understand
that.
that more in an inert media substrate like cocoa, right?
Hmm.
But if you have soil and living soil, I don't get it.
Yeah,
I
it,
right?
it it
I
was
don't know.
it was a technique that I thought was uh, again, I'm a novice at this. I am still learning so much about farming, um, just crops, and like Hepworth Farms, Canacure Farms, a couple other farms. These are 2 and 3 generations of people that were farming that know their soil. And um, to me, it's just been a very positive, holistic experience to work on a farm for a summer or spring and summer and see how nature works and what we get from it.
Mhm.
But we have it documented, and I'll put it all together. That's like, oh my God, 3 years
So
ago.
I think the things that we're missing because I understand that these farms need to produce to sell,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
But I think that something that we're missing is the comparison and the controlled design where you are comparing it to something, right? And so, okay, you have all of these plants that you put this tea, and then this is how the plants reacted. Well, where is the control? And do you have a control where you didn't add the tea, and how many plants in your control, and these experimental design? Because I don't think that you can draw. I mean, the only conclusion that you can draw is, okay, yeah, my plants look great and I produce this much. Had I not put it, you don't know what's going to happen because you didn't do that.
Hmm.
um so I think that that's what we're missing, because people are not going to risk it, right? Like, you're not going to go to that farmer and tell that farmer, like, hey, what if you leave one of your beds or one of your, right, without it, and see what happens, and therefore we can measure. um and then you do it in I don't know, in a experimental design way, where you have maybe randomized plants that you did not add the tea, to see that it's not location dependent, or right. so
Hmm.
so, so that it's hard to do because people are not going to risk not producing enough or not
Hmm.
producing the best that they can do. So I think that those things um we could improve on.
Hmm. One last question. If you can design the perfect plant specifically for the New York market, what genetic traits would it have?
Would be resistant to botrytis, septoria, well, all
Hmm.
leaf spots, because it's not just septoria, it's bipolaris, downy mildew. It would be resistant to powdery mildew. um it would be purple, because I really like the purple color.
Oh, you're my new friend. I'm going to find a specific purple one for us then. I love anything purple and
Yeah,
grapey and fruity and even, yeah,
but
go
it would
ahead.
smell lemony.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, but it
yes.
would be purple.
You and I, what? You're my soul smoker? Come on, we're soulmates in this. What are you talking? You are hitting it. You are hitting it.
I know. I don't remember where was I one day, but I was looking and I was like, oh, this one is purple, and look at the pistils, they're purple and they're
Yeah,
pink.
yeah,
And they were like, well, but you just like the purple ones. And I'm like, yeah, I do.
yeah.
I
I
really
do.
do. And well, but look at this other one. Oh yeah, that one's pretty, but it's not as pretty. It's not as pretty.
Hmm. I think that one thing I can say that's been constant in my life outside of the love of my family is cannabis. I mean, I've had great experiences with the people I've smoked with, and even by myself in solitude, meditation. One question I want to ask is: do you feel that um, cannabis can be a huge part of the medical aspect, like in health and like, because I just saw a reel or excuse me, a report on a pharmaceutical company called Valiant that is now known as Bosch, where the previous CEO had raised this medicine uh, to like 655%, and it was from 650 to $21,000 or something like that. So do you feel that cannabis can help people, one, medically and affordably?
100%. I do. I don't think that cannabis is going to cure every single disease. I don't think that cannabis is here and it's like, oh, it saved us from everything. No, I don't think that. Like, I think that there's still going to be many, let's call it traditional medicine, that it's going to be needed, but I do think that it could make people's lives better. For example, we do know that cannabis is good for patients that are undergoing chemotherapy, to help them eat, for example. So I do think that that could be a possibility. It doesn't mean that it's not gonna um, stop chemotherapy, no,
Right,
but
right.
it may make it more. Um, it may improve it. It may make your experience a little bit better if you're able to eat, or if you're able to not have that much nausea. right? I
Mm-hmm.
do think. I mean, it has there's studies on epilepsy in kids. It doesn't work for every single kid, but it does work for some kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, like it's not like, oh, it came here and it saved the world. No, but it is gonna be very useful. And I do think that perhaps, I mean, I think that the issue, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
it's that some medical patients do require um very products that are very controlled, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so for those patients, like, I don't see a problem isolated and then, like, extract it and isolate it and put it in a pill and there you go. There's your cannabis pill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is, in my mind, a different consumer than the adult use recreational consumer. Those are two different populations. Perhaps you have been a recreational consumer and at some point you become a medical consumer in your lifetime, right?
Mm-hmm.
That can also happen. But I do think that the requirements are different. And I do think that having very good manufacturing practices that allow for very pristine products, not contaminated with anything, are maybe necessary for the medical consumers. I also think that the medical um, consumers, I do not understand why they would smoke, right? I don't think smoking is good, period, for
Right.
anyone, right?
Right.
Even like,
Right.
if you when they say that the air quality, and I lived in Colorado for almost a decade, so I know about air
Mm-hmm.
quality over there, right? When they say the air quality is bad, it's because there's smoke, there's particles in the air that are not good for your lungs. If you're in a bonfire and you're roasting marshmallows and you go to the bonfire, and that's not good for your lungs, right? So
Mm-hmm.
smoking is not good. Whether it's smoking marijuana, it's better or worse than smoking tobacco, probably, right? However, I don't think that smoking is good, period. Now, if there's a medical patient, I think that the medical patients should be able to decide how they consume it under their own risk. If you're a cancer patient and you have lung cancer and you decide to smoke joint, that may not be the best way,
Yeah.
the smartest
Right.
idea. Maybe you should have
Right.
a gummy. But I also know that there are some people where edibles do not work.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so if though for those people that edibles do not work, is it all edibles? Is it just when you have an ethanol extraction? If you had a solventless or if you had a BHO type of extraction, would it be different?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know, right? Do we have those studies? I honestly don't know if we have those studies, but I do think that it will help people, yes, and I do think that at the end of the day, we need to, in the cannabis community, we need to make sure that we are aware that it's likely that they're going to make a cannabis bill, that it's already out, actually. There's
Right.
companies that already have them,
Yeah.
but there's going to be
Yeah.
more from different pharmaceuticals. And if they
Right.
have to, extract it, isolate it, and then put it in a pill, that's how it is.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
Pro. Yeah. ProTabs is one of the. Yeah. ProTabs is one of the cannabis companies I'm familiar with. And yeah, that's an amazing thing there. So, well, I want to tell you, you have an event that's coming up in September
Yes.
that I want you to
Yes.
talk about real quick.
Yes, the field day. We still do not have a date, but I will definitely contact you to tell you the date. I would love to. I mean, you and I have been talking about how to
Hmm.
have people coming from the city for this event and figuring out whether that is a possibility.
Hmm.
Um, and yes, it's in September, probably mid to end of September.
Hmm.
But I will definitely keep you informed because, um, I am not from New York. I've
Hmm.
been living in New York for almost 5 years now. And I didn't realize how big the difference between wherever upstate starts, because I know that for
Oh
New
yeah.
Yorkers, it's
Oh wait, it's look. I travel a lot to West New York, and West New York region does not is not Hudson Valley. Hudson Valley is not North New York or North, But when we go New York City, if it's past, the Bronx, once you hit Yonkers, well, no, you go past the Hudson, it's all upstate. That's how we feel when you pass the Tappan Zee or something
I
like
mean,
that.
I know that there are different definitions of where upstate
Yeah,
starts and where it ends, but what
yeah,
I do have to say is that New York City is a completely different thing, right? And
yeah.
so I didn't realize that some people, even in the cannabis industry, working with cannabis for years, have never really seen how a plant grows and how it grows outdoors,
Hmm.
right? So I think that that could be a possibility for people, and I have had people saying like, "Hey, I have never seen the plant." And you know, all in all, despite the hand ties because of federal regulation, I think that at Cornell we've done a really good job at keeping up with the research, or trying to do our best to do relevant research. Um, I have to say that the researchers at Cornell are excellent. We are really committed to our work and to serving the people in New York, as an agriculture school. Um,
Hmm.
Sometimes it's frustrating to me, all of the hand ties that I have, and trying to figure out, can I do this? Can I not? Like walking the line, and
Yeah.
it's a blurry line, right?
Hmm.
So sometimes it's difficult, but I do have to say that we care we
Yes.
care and we care about the people. And for me personally, for this is very personal what I'm going to say, this has been the most gratifying job that I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
I never I'm coming from a data analysis world, kind of like a like computer,
Hmm.
but I didn't know that I was going to be so touched by people, and so welcomed and loved. And I the only thing that I hope is to be able to return that somehow. Um, so anyway, so yeah, it's probably gonna be $35,
Hmm.
including lunch, which is probably gonna be chicken. Um,
Hmm.
and so FYI, we also have breakfast available. So and we're gonna have good information for what we do at Cornell, and we wanna, include everyone. Doors are open for everyone.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Okay. Well, we're definitely going to look forward to keeping everyone up to date on that event in September. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time for coming
oh,
on
thank you for
today.
inviting me.
Yeah, and I'm glad. When I create these calendars, I got to remember to delete that Google Meet. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but again, thank you so much, Dr. Vergara. You will be hearing from me soon. We'll continue this conversation, talk more in depth, and feel free to reach out to me if you have some great information that you want to share with our followers here on the podcast. And thank you. You're
Thank
awesome.
you
I,
very much.
I, I
You
think what
too.
you're doing is great work. I feel that. There's one question that a friend of mine did ask me: how can people get into what you're doing?
Into what I'm doing?
Yeah, like through education, what would they study, or or if they didn't want to go the traditional educational route, how would you recommend someone that wanted to learn more? On
So
hand and hands on.
hands-on. I mean, I know that the SUNY schools have hands-on courses. Um, I teach at CU Boulder online, and those courses are also available online.
Hmm.
Um, through a non-for-profit that I'm part of, the Agricultural Genomics Foundation, right?
Hmm.
We have those courses online, so those are ways where people can learn. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I would tell people to be skeptical about what they hear in general in the cannabis industry. Sometimes there's a lot of misinformation, and people swear by things like, yes, it's white, therefore it was grown and it wasn't
Hmm.
flushed. And it's like,
Hmm.
really?
Hmm. Hmm.
So be skeptical about those things. At AGF and at Cornell, of course, we give evidence-based information, right? So
Okay.
information that has been published and validated and peer reviewed. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Vergara. I want to tell everyone you can where can they find you? Actually, if anyone wanted to reach out to you and gain more
I
information or even
I am
support.
in social media. Can I give you, I am in LinkedIn.
Yeah.
In LinkedIn, this
IG. Yeah.
yeah, this is my How do I get? Can I give you
Oh no,
my
well,
LinkedIn?
I'll have everything all in our description and make sure that they can find you that way. I know
Yes, my
you're on
LinkedIn
LinkedIn, Cornell
and on
University,
Instagram.
and on Instagram too. Okay, we'll make sure we
Yes.
get that to you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
All righty. Hey, thank you so much. This was a great conversation. All right. And you have a
Thank
great
you.
week.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
great
You
week.
too. We'll keep in touch.
All righty. Bye bye. All righty. I want to thank her. I think having these guests on has just been amazing so far, starting our second season. Dr. Vergara is an amazing educator, academic, and scientist there at Cornell University. And with with everything going on in the world right now, it's so good to meet people that are doing positive things for us in life. I want to give a shout out again, a special shout out to our sponsors, Produce 420, Silk Road, Jadestone Cannabis Branding, Green Spectrum CBD, Meyer Security, Wet Bar Distribution, and our newest sponsors, Yerba Buena Cannabis Dispensary in Brooklyn, and also Luke Lamp Company. They are a major contributor to the second season of the podcast. And I just want to give them a big shout out and thank them so much for supporting our second season so far. I will say I'm excited about telling you that we will be at Spanibus 2026 in España, in Spain, in Bilbao, Spain, from the 17th through the 20th. I will be in Europe, in Spain, from the 14th through the 28th. So I'm going to get in some touring, do some tourism, and get some people on the show and talk about content, cannabis, and get some great content. So I'm very excited about that. We will be at MJ Unpacked in Atlantic City in first week in May. We hope to be able to do a second interview with Regent Wanda L. James, who's running for the Congressional District 1 in Colorado. In late May, if not early June, just before the primary there. We will be reaching out to politicians to interview. Anyone that wants to come on the show, reach out to me. You know how to do it. I'm on IG, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. And I just want to say thank you all so much for joining us on the podcast. Yerba Buena, thank you for being a part of our network, and also Luke Lamp Company. They are a major contributor for the second season. Thank you so much. Peace and love to everyone. Have a great day. I am going to now get ready for our evening show with Peter Sue at 6:20. Here we go. Peter will be on to discuss finance, cannabis banking, and give you all some great insight on what's going on. I misspelled science, y'all. Look at that. Holy cow. All right. So we'll talk to you soon. God bless. Peace and love. This is it. We're out. Bye-bye. The OG Social Network podcast is sponsored in part by